And testing, testing. Hello, hello. And we are live on the internet. Very good. Thank you, Charlie. Okay, hi, and welcome to the Brighton Data Forum. We are a community of data professionals for socializing, networking, and skill sharing. And well, first of all, we've been doing this for a few years, 5 years now, and it's great to see not only a good attendance, but so many new faces in among the familiar ones. So welcome all newcomers. And a special welcome to people tuning in from YouTube. Hello, Internet. Please feel free to use the comment section to put in your commentary or questions, and we'll have eyes on them. And so that if you have a burning question, we can raise them in the room to your speakers. Right. Okay. So we cover data professions very broadly here at the Brighton Data Forum. We're very proud of that, because whether it's highly technical, like database administration, or the data engineering, or data analytics, data science, or if it's more conceptual, like data ethics, data visualization, data communication, it's our belief that if you work in any one of these fields, the rest of them are relevant to you, and we have some stories to tell. So our membership counts people from juniors and students. We very much welcome participation by students and enthusiasts, and runs up all the way to the executive suite. Yeah, so I'm Oscar Holm, if I forgot to introduce myself. Probably did. Hey. Yeah, we have a really great program for you tonight, an unusually packed event. So for those of you who are here for the first time, chose a good one. Just wanted to tell you, you probably signed up here, so you know that we live on Slack. That's our spiritual home. No, sorry, on meetup.com. That's our spiritual home. But we also have a Slack workspace. And this is where we continue the conversation in between meetup events. We organize social events and even get some exercise through random walks and bike rides. So you're welcome to join us on Slack. This is, quite obviously organized and run by rank amateur volunteers. But we would not be able to do any of this if it weren't for the good aid that we get from the absolute stars and professionals at Silicon Brighton. And Silicon Brighton supports this this forum and helps us. It provides the audio-visual equipment and various connections. And for that, we have an absolute bona fide actual rock star helping us run these events. And I'd like to welcome him on stage. This is Charlie Hula. Give him a hand.
Thank you very much, Oscar. That is lovely. Is that a picture of yours from the show at the Comedia on Sunday night? That is fantastic. I swear to God, I'm not really that cool. That does look pretty good though, doesn't it? Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, my name's Charlie. For those of you who have not had the pleasure to meet yet, I work in events and community engagement for Silicon Brighton when I'm not doing that. And we support over 30 different meetups across the tech and digital sectors here in the city, including the Brighton Data Forum. And all of our events are free, available to all, and both hybrid and online. So obviously you're all in the room with us here tonight, but we, as Oscar says, we run a live stream. Hello to everybody on YouTube, so that we can have people join us from afar or from home, and that you can all watch the event back after it's finished as well. And none of the events and none of the work that we do would be possible without the help of our fantastic supporters, all of whom you can see on screen here. And if you know of a company who might be interested in supporting us, who you can't see up here, maybe point them in our direction because we'd really appreciate it. We also want to give a huge shout out and debt of thanks to our sponsors, Octopus Energy, James Chase, Hyperion Dev, and the University of Sussex, all of whom play a really key part in helping us achieve our mission, which is fantastic. But none of the work that we do would be possible without a small army of help that we get every week from volunteers to meetup organisers and beyond. So we're always looking for more support. If you might be interested in giving a talk at an event or working with a meetup organiser to help organise things, or to help us as a volunteer to come and set up before an event, we would really, really appreciate it. Please come and have a chat with myself or my colleague Maureen if you'd be interested in doing so. You've caught us at a really good time. We're very busy at the moment. On Friday, there is Game Dev Drinks, and on Tuesday next week, or the 6th of June, is the UX Up Summer Bash, and then the following week is PHP Sussex and People and Culture Club the day after that as well. If you scan this QR code or go to siliconbrighton.com/events, you will be able to see the full calendar of everything that we've got going on. That is everything from me. Thank you so very much. I'll hand you back to Oscar, who's got another announcement about a fantastic event for you. Thanks.
Yeah, well, I wanted to tell you about an event that is coming up in September. And it has these stellar keynote speakers. This is the Earl event, Enterprise Applications of the R language. They've actually added Python, so they're covering Python today, but they won't change the name to Perl. So Urpel, sorry, can somebody go to the door and let Moritz in? Sorry. Thank you. Fantastic event coming up in September. I'm really impressed that Data Cove managed to snag this event and bring it from London all the way down here to Brighton. And in the room here is Jeremy of Data Cove, the man responsible for bringing us top quality data content and a conference, massive conference here into our little seaside town. There's a QR code for those who want to capture the URL and sign up, but you'll find it at Data Cove's site, and it'll be really great to see many data professionals, local data professionals, use the opportunity. I don't know if you recognize those faces. We had Andy Fields from the Sussex, we had from Hadley Wickham from POSIT, we had from BBC, we had from, help me out, the last one. Microsoft, yes. So top-notch speakers from the at the Earl event coming in September. And then a gratuitous picture of Charlie to pass time for a little bit while I talk about what Silicon Brighton does for us. You know, yes, obviously, they give us rockstars to run the AV system, but they also give us connections and help us find great speakers, be connected in the community. And one of the really appreciated connections were, well, just look around. Where are we? We're at Barclays Ego Labs in Brighton. And we are here because Silicon Brighton introduced us to the wonderful people at Barclays. I'm going to introduce Andy, who's going to tell you about their mission.
Lovely. Cheers, Oscar. Welcome. Great to see so many people here today. Bit of housekeeping, just need to go through. If any of you need the toilet, just through the door on the right-hand side, the stairs down and go around. There shouldn't be a fire drill today. If there is, follow me. I'll be out that door quick. We go to the Joker. All right, so just get out as quick as we can. So Brighton Eagle Labs, yeah, what are we? Yeah, we are a business incubator. So we are here to help and support businesses grow and scale. The way that we do that is we offer free mentoring. We also offer free different workshops. There's different programs, accelerator programs that you can go on. All of this we offer to help and support you guys build and grow your business. So whether you're starting up, looking to scale, or even at that stage where you want to exit, we have some mentors that will be able to help and support you. When you have a look around, we've got a couple of banners up here. We've got QR codes. Scan that QR code, get in contact. You'll get in contact with me. Let's sit down. Let's talk about your business. Let's see how we can help you on that journey, and let's work together. Cheers, Oscar.
Thank you, Andy. And thank you to Barclays Ecolab. Thank you so much for hosting us time after time. Also, we want to give a special thanks to Richmond Mead Consulting. They have been sponsoring us for over 2 years now with refreshments, with drinks and pizzas. And they are a local data and analytics company specializing in all things Oracle. They have a blog on their site, which has been absolutely great. That's where I learned all I know about data governance is from their blog. I just wanted to tell you also they are a local company that has one of those local companies that have a global reach. Sometimes you get really proud of Brighton when you stumble on those companies. More on that later. But absolutely grateful for everybody who enjoyed pizzas and drinks here. Drinks in the fridge. Go ahead and help yourselves to them, and give thanks. Let's pass our thanks to Richmond Mead. Now, it's time for our first speaker, and she is Jessica Puglielli. I should have tested this before. Either I said it right, or I hope I. Really good, actually. Yeah. Yes. And she comes from MPB.com, another one of those companies you can't believe are a local company with such a global reach. And here to tell you more is Jessica.
Thank you. Thanks, Oscar. Hi, everyone. I'm Jess. Thanks for the introduction, Oscar. I am head of product design at MPB today. I'm with some of my colleagues to talk to you about photography, product design, and AI and creative arts. So, first of all, a bit about myself. Now, if you didn't get it from my name or from the accent, this should give it away where I'm from. Where do you think I'm from? Yes, thank you very much. So I am originally from Italy, but I moved to the UK 12 years ago. This image just tells the journey that I went through. The first picture on the left is where I'm from, so I know what you're thinking, what you're doing here in England. It's the south of Italy, so beautiful sea, hot, Mediterranean. And then I moved to Rome, then I went to LA and lived in Milan, lived in I lived in Piemonte, where Nutella is from. And then moved to the UK, first London, and then to sunny Brighton. I think it's been now, 6 years ago. So, So my background is design. I've always been working in design, product design, graphic design, UX design for 25 years. So professionally, I'm a designer. I've also been doing photography for most of my life. It's not my first job, obviously, or my main profession, but I do it also semi-professionally. But mainly when I do photography, it's because it's how it makes me feel, and for me, it's an artistic expression. So when I joined MPB 3 years ago, that was the perfect occasion for me because it's photography. My role was in design, and it's also about sustainability, which is one of those causes that are really, really close to my heart. So I'm going to start using these now. So why am I here to talk about, AI and creative arts? Well, apart from the fact that, Oscar and everyone involved kindly invited me to talk about these today. And, it's a subject that I'm really, really passionate about. And I know it gets a lot of, there's very strong opinions whether AI is good or bad. I'm not here to say, AI is good or bad, but it's what I think from my perspective and my experience, AI could be really good for or really bad for. So it's just food for thought today. I'm not an AI expert. So let's imagine this scenario. Tomorrow I caught a painter, a real painter, an artist, and I asked them to produce for me 3 paintings, 3 pictures. I tell them exactly how I want them, to be, the feeling, and what they should represent. So they go away, take the time, do the paintings, come back to me, and they say, "This is what we've done. I would have done." And I say, "Okay, I choose one of them." And then I take it, post it on social media so that I did it. And that, and I might even sell it. How would most people feel about it? Good. So then again, I could easily go to any of the hundreds of AI tools, give exactly the same instructions that I told to the, that I gave to the painter, and AI would try and come back with the best they can do. Most of the times horrible, to be honest. And I can easily take one of the images that are produced by the tool, put it on social media, even sell it, and find myself a AI artist. So there's not much difference in terms of, what I'm doing, but I wouldn't describe myself as an AI artist, especially in first case, because in first case, someone else did, and they interpreted what I told them. So if we think about these, I just say, yeah, and that's real, that's true. So I'm sure, if you think about the Sistine Chapel, the church has done many wrongs, but at least one thing they did right. They never took merit, or credit for what Michelangelo painted for them. So why would then someone else do the same with another artist? So it's just the difference in how I'm the commissioner in the case, right? In the first case, I'm the commissioner. In the second case, I'm still the commissioner, and I'm not an artist just because I prompted a computer with detailed information. I cannot be an artist. And there is a reason why. But before I say that, I have a question. Is there anyone in the audience that is a photographer or a painter or an artist, not professionally, that does it as a form of expression, any sort of art? All right, quite a few, right? So anyone wants to say why you do what you do when you do it? Anyone? What? Yeah. Oh,
I like cameras. I like playing with the toys.
Okay. Yeah.
And I like the output.
So you like cameras and you like using the physical camera. Yeah.
It's about sharing emotions. It's about trying to get people.
Yeah. I can just imagine a computer say it's about sharing an emotion, right? So, John, you say what the why?
I think for me, because I take photos. Lots of people take photos of the things that I take photos of, but I guess when I create a photo, it feels like it's personal somehow. Like it's a bit of me in there.
Yes. Yeah, because that's the human aspect. You could take a photo of the same thing a million times, a million different people. It will probably look different, even if it's just slightly, because it's the emotion, the thought that goes into it, the way you frame it, how you control the light, it will define that. And that is something that comes from a human aspect. So I feel like there's also a conversation out where AI wins, though. I don't want to be the, all doom and gloom. But before I do that, my perspective is that, the reason why I do photography, and I started before, I went into photography, I started design, I started painting, I started architectural design. And art and design are very different, right? So, but when you do art, it's an expression of yourself. It is an expression of who you are. And you cannot express yourself by just giving a couple of inputs to a computer, because first of all, the computer doesn't have the human aspect to kind of interpret that in a human way. But also what it does is just takes millions of data that someone else has done and put them together in the best of ways. I know that artists do that, of course, designers do it, everyone that works in creative arts do it at one point, because you subconsciously put into your heart what you've seen, what you've said, what you've loved, what you grew up with, where you grew up with. However, that's still a unique human perspective into what you do as an artist that a computer will never, and I hope it will never, replace the way that humans can interpret a piece of art. Now, let's go to the where AI wins. Okay, well, we'll see. So what I was saying before, and my life is always like between art and design, and they're very different. They both require quite a strong creative aspect, because obviously creativity can be seen in many different ways. Design solves a problem. Design is not about just doing anything to communicate, to express what you have inside, and then whatever. If people like it or not, I don't care. I'm an artist. This is what I've done, and this is who I am. Design is completely, is fine. Design is kind of the opposite. Then I need to obviously have technical skills that are similar sometimes to illustrators and and designers, in terms of knowing the color theory, all of that stuff. But in terms of design as a profession, is mainly solving problem, and it's data driven, which art doesn't need to be, because otherwise we lose all the joy for it. So that's, I think that's where we get into a place where AI can definitely help a bit more. However, how we use AI MPB, we still try to be, and I'm talking about mainly what we do with my team, with the product design team, and more widely with a product team, which we have our VP of product here as well today. So it's something that we share, I think, in terms of how do we use it. It can be very helpful in tasks that otherwise will require maybe quite a bit of time to do, and they're like the boring ones, the ones that don't require much of a brain, to be honest, and much creativity. So we don't use it to solve our users' problems. We still use our wonderful human UX designers, visual designers, UX researchers, with obviously loads of data that my wonderful colleagues, Nikki, Daniel, and Alice will talk about later. But the way we solve problems is but there are humans who solve problems for other humans. However, there are a few things that we use them for, and if in case this is just to reiterate my point, we don't want that. We don't want to hire that sort of thing. So these will never happen. MPB, hopefully. I will replace it as a designer's job. Yeah, I can just good luck with it as well, but lots of fingers to use many, keyboards and mouse, but yeah, I don't think that will work. But the way we use in the product design team, for instance, we are going to use AI. This is just to give you an idea. We can use it to identify users and their behaviors when we do, desk research or common patterns, gather design requirements, organize data, into a repository, desk research, as I said, automate session recording. These are very boring tasks that a machine can do very well and can free time for our, for instance, our UX researcher to actually dedicate her time to focus on qualitative research and, you know, speak to the humans in front of us and understand really what are the humans aspect there that, you know, that make them our unique users, and then we can solve for them from a human perspective. And in, you know, even in AI design, it can help a lot. You know, color palette integration. There are so many repetitive tasks even in UI designs, like, you know, when you create a component in Figma, then there are repetitions that you can automate with AI and many different plugins. So font combination is another one, writing, you know, and copy generation, drafts. We now used what AI produces, but it's really useful to have a first draft to then work on it. So another way so there's quite a lot of focus on AI and MPB, and I just wanted to mention that in December we did a MPB AI week, and it was like a week where different teams work on different ways where we could have applied AI in a way that could solve problems for our users mainly. And actually I was on the same team as Daniel, and we we worked on this is just the screenshots, but there's a very rough prototype that, you know, that could potentially help us, for instance, understand how we could help our sellers, you know, telling us what the condition of the camera they're selling to us is, and that would be by just uploading the camera, and then we could scan AI could help us say these camera that the trying to sell us, it's in this condition based on your condition rating. So that's just an example. So we are using AI, but we're solving problem, so it can help us doing that, but it won't be just doing that. So my conclusions, AI can be a really great tool, but I really, really hope that we will never get to a point where AI artists are paid or considered as good as Michelangelo. No. Also, I'm Italian. No, I don't accept that. But also, I know that, you know, it can be very powerful to help us to support humans in doing what they're already doing great, just speed up some of the processes. And I think I'm done. So have you got any questions or comments, or maybe you don't agree with some of the stuff that I said? So I don't know. We're good? All right. So thank you very much. Yeah. And if you want to get in touch, feedback or anything more, please feel free to. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut short the question time. If you do have any questions, I have a roving mic for you. All right. Go ahead.
Brilliant talk, Jess.
Thank you.
So you said at the end that you don't think AI is going to replace artists anytime soon. What do you think it would take, or what would worry you if AI was doing to replace artists?
I love this question. I feel that it will become just another standardized product that has no passion and no human spark. And if we remove that from humanity, because AI takes over that, right? Imagine we have all AI doing arts, and the humans start growing like apathetic to it. They like, all right, well, if AI is doing it, it's doing much better than me. I'm a crap painter. I'm not going to bother with it. Then I feel like it's the end of humanity as we know it, because that's what makes us different and humans. If it's just about using brain, I don't think that's enough to be humans. You know, we got passion, we got issues, loads, we got, you know, but that's what makes us human. And art I've met so many artists in my life that said, if it wasn't for my art, I wouldn't be here, you know, because their life maybe was a bit sad and was a bit not really, you know, exciting, or they had serious, you know, I don't know, mental health issues or whatever. And art was the only way for them to convey that, you know, suffering. And I think, for instance, if we talk about music, the UK is an amazing place that has produced so many great musicians, and I feel like sometimes if you think about it, lots of them, they're quite dark and sad musicians. It's probably due to lack of vitamin D and sun, but that has produced masterpieces, for instance, of music because they managed to convey that sort of, feelings and sadness and into art, which in that case was music. So, and you can tell music now when it's done with auto-tune and all the same. I don't want to sound like I'm 85-year-old, but sometimes I do, but I feel like, but it's removing that power the human feels they can totally be themselves and just give, way to whatever they're feeling and create something that is unique. A computer will never be able to do it. The moment they do it, then we have to worry because they also grew probably quite sentient and, similar to us. So I'm not sure how I feel about it. Maybe it's for a different conversation, but yeah. Cool. Thanks very much. Oh yeah, there's another question. Yeah.
I love the example you had with Dan, where you've thought about how you can upload the photos and the AI can help you classify the condition. I was thinking in your role, is there a piece of AI that you now use, which you can't imagine not using from now on?
That's a good question. In my role, I'm not at that level of dependency yet. However, the tool that I would say I use the most is ChatGPT to help me sometimes, because I have lots of ideas and lots of maybe planning and strategy to do. So I throw everything that I want to do in there, and it helps me organize the ideas in a way. That's where I don't use any of the tools, to create images or designs. We don't use it. But one thing actually that I use AI for photography is to help cleaning the images that I produce or enhance the pixels, the resolution. Lightroom has launched an amazing AI denoise feature that removes the noise, but without losing the quality for low light settings when you take photo. And to be honest with you, they've had that for a bit, but it's never been that good. It's always turned up to be like blurry. You can't even tell what the image is. Now it's fantastic. So I do use that for photography, but that's it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Nice. Thank you. Anyone else? No? Oh, good. All right. Thank you very much then. Thanks, Oscar.
Wow, excellent. Again, thank you, Jess. This was wonderful and thought-provoking. Now, I want to introduce the next speakers. But I have to admit, I'm slightly concerned because I promised Andy and Rowan that I would bring in a crowd that would drink their fridge dry. And I have a lot of work ahead of me unless I get some help here. Is there anybody thirsty in the room? So you can take a look. We'll take a 2-minute thing for you thirsty folks to come and attack this fridge. Leave no prisoners, please. My reputation is at stake. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that's yeah. Apologies to the online audience. Well, there's a 2-minute unscheduled break. Well, if you have to, you have to. To all who heeded my call, thank you very much. And yeah, again, to the remote audience, my apologies. Right, so Now we're all loaded up because it's time for the headline act. Well, what can I say? You've already had some introduction to MPB.com, and the regulars have heard me talk about them in the past year because they sponsored us. This is a great company. It's a local company with a global outreach, and we are so happy to have their data team come and tell us their data transformation story. And they are Nikki, Alice, and Daniel. I'd like to welcome you up here on the stage. Thank you very much. Give them a warm hand. Yes.
Hello. Well, following Jess is definitely something. So thank you very much for having us today and for the opportunity to allow us to present our journey. So as a scaling startup, demand for data and reporting began exceeding the capabilities. So we're reflecting on the last 3 years and MPB's data transformation journey, and we're going to share those insights today. And I don't have enough hands, so Alice is clicking on the slides. So as you've noticed, there's 3 of us up here today. So I'm the head of data and analytics, and I'm joined by 2 of my team who help bring the vision to life. So we've got Alice, who is our lead customer analyst, and Dan, who is our senior data engineer. We've all worked at MPB for around 2.5 to 3 years, and we're going to tell you more about our journey today. So who are MPB? You've obviously had a bit of a sneak preview already. So MPB are the largest online platform for used photography and videography gear. We're a 2-sided marketplace, so we buy and sell, and we recirculate more than 570,000 items a year, which is extending the life and creative potential of kit for visual storytellers around the world. We were founded by our CEO, Matt Barker, and our CRO, Kat Mitchell, back in 2011. And we're based in the creative communities of Brighton, Berlin, and Brooklyn, and we're localized in got localized platforms in 6 markets. We're now around 470 employees globally, and in 2021, MPB was awarded £50 million in Series D investment, and that went into data and tech, which is where our story begins. However, before that, just to share some stats, obviously this is a good room for stats, following our recent impact report. So Jess touched upon our circularity and around being good for people and the planet. And 60% of our marketing collaborations, original content and advertising feature at least one underrepresented group in 2024. 35% of our electricity is from renewable sources. We use 100% plastic-free packaging, and we send 0 waste to landfill. And on top of that, 46% of our management roles are held by females. Okay. Yes. So MPB has always been very data literate. We've had a very data literate exec team and board. It's always been very much at the heart of what MPB do and how we make decisions. However, the appetite for trusted data in terms of scale and growth exceeded the current capabilities. The terms Tableau and data were synonymous. So data was only shared via data, which meant doing any ad hoc analysis outside of Tableau very, very difficult. The back end needed a review. So all of the data transformation for analytics was done within Tableau, which if any of you are familiar with Tableau, that is not the place to do data transformation. The front end user experience needed simplifying to enhance user confidence and to actually make KPIs easier to access. And to actually enable this to happen, the data and analytics function needed to be resized to support and also to bring in the relevant expertise. So I joined back in 2021, where there was a team of 3 members and 1 function. So everybody was an analyst, and they were basically in the middle of migrating reports because we were in the middle of a platform migration at the same time. So as it says up there, we had 108 reports. Each of these had individual data sources. So that meant if something changed, it would have to be changed in 108 places. Our ETL processes were failing and the data volume was increasing. And actually, as I said earlier on, if we wanted to do any analytics outside of Tableau, it took 37 minutes just to run the base data to be able to start any analytics. In addition, the Tableau data was built off of production replicas. So the data wasn't set up in the right way to enable optimization for analytics or reporting or data science. So coming on to the vision, I think you'll probably all agree that foundations when it comes to data are key to success. We've all heard garbage in, garbage out. So, you know, that was very much the focus for us, and actually getting a single source of truth that acted as a one-stop shop, putting together all our first, second and third party data was very much the goal. So this also included bringing together governance and documentation, not just thinking about our data. So we made sure that because we were starting from basics, it enabled us to be able to set up data dictionaries from the get-go, making it a lot easier than starting later on in the journey. We also supported data literacy by wanting to support data literacy to help people use our dashboards that we were going to be creating. And ultimately, we wanted to showcase the value of data and the power that it can bring the company to enable data-informed decisioning and value. So the next step was selling the vision to the company. Ultimately, why does anyone else care about it? So what? Is anyone else excited? So it was really about sharing what it means for the roadmap and our stakeholders and what value it unlocks. So one of the key things is the reduction in manual tasks. So one of the areas we've been really successful is in operations. There was a huge amount of data being recorded manually, but whereas putting that through into a data warehouse to actually automate some of these systems has really freed up people's time. We also wanted to give the confidence in KPIs, as I said, and actually enabling people to pull numbers out from multiple dashboards and know that they all align and they're not disjointed is definitely a benefit. Also, we're a customer first company, so having a single customer view and putting customer at the heart of what we do was really, really key to enable personalization across marketing and knowing who our customers are. Also enables innovation outside of Tableau and gives a holistic end-to-end view. So we're able to look at a customer from their first visit to the platform to all of their repeat behavior thereafter. Luckily for me, it was widely accepted that the as-is wasn't scalable, so buy-in was really easy to secure. So I've taken you through the departure point and shared the vision. But to make this a reality, we needed to hire experts and mobilize the existing experts in the team. So one of the first roles we recruited were the data engineers. As I said, the foundations are the most important place to start. And the other thing that was really key was collaboration and communication. So we have daily stand-ups, and we still do, but also around sharing with the business who we are. We were a brand new team to the organization. We didn't have we had people doing analytics, but as a team there to support the business, we didn't exist. So it was making sure people knew who we were and what we could do. We also have a monthly Centre of Excellence meeting, whereby we share successes both within the team and to any of our key stakeholders. And the vision was presented to the senior team, the exec and the board, and we made sure that stakeholders were always kept up to date, and we delivered quick wins where possible to sort of back up our promises. So with that, I'm going to hand you over to Dan and Alice.
Hello, everyone. So, as Nikki said, when I first joined the company, a few months before her, I was welcome to 108 Tableau reports that all needed migrating to the new database. We decided 108 bit match, we'll do 59. However, 59 reports and migrating all of those embedded data sources was going to become quite a task. So what we decided to do was take our first steps towards centralization. Tableau obviously has the ability on Tableau server to create centralized data sources. So we thought this is a good opportunity. So we essentially created what became quite a mammoth data source, as we will see, where we took all of the foundational data from the new database alongside some old data from the other database, brought it all together to create one consolidated data structure. Within Tableau, we then created every single calculated field that could possibly be needed for all of the reporting, so we could adequately migrate all of our reports in time for the replatforming release. This is the data model, which we lovingly refer to as the spaghetti diagram. I didn't create this. This was actually this poor man's job of mapping all this out. So 122 database fields came together for this data model. That's across the new Postgres database that had been created as part of the replatforming, and the pre-existing MySQL database, of which parts were going to carry on. And then came the standardization of all the calculated fields that we were going to need to report on key business KPIs. Obviously, some of these calculated fields then became part of other calculated fields. So it started to grow quite quickly. So we ended up with 199 calculated fields. We weren't too upset about the next phase because we documented it all. And I think, as Nikki said, that's really a key part to data foundations, keeping good documentation. So we had, unfortunately, a Google sheet, but of every single field, how it was used, what the definition was, what filters were appropriate for different kinds of reporting, all of that kind of thing. However, we slowly started to struggle. So the first thing that really meant that we needed to evaluate the use of a single data source was running out of time. So we had this single data source on a cadence of 30-minute extract refresh. But as the business grew, we started to exceed that refresh schedule. Data was becoming stale. I remember there'd be like hours would pass. We'd be like, oh, hang on, why is it not updated for a couple of hours? And it's because it was simply exceeding the refresh schedule. So that resulted in spin-off data sources that were lighter versions so we could keep business critical reports going. Again, that almost takes us back to the 108 reports. Change it in one place, you have to change it everywhere else. And that fell onto the creator, so we had a single point of failure there as well. That covers the inflexible reporting. On the blockers to advanced analytics, recreating this absolutely monolithic data source to begin any analysis was quite difficult. As Nikki said, 37 minutes just to create the base data before you even did anything after that in R, and very difficult to standardize across the entire team. And we were quite restricted to the data source in that giant spaghetti horrible thing was purely transactional and product data. There was appetite around the business for event stream data, so information about our on-platform events. The ETL had broken because it was too big. And Tableau is certainly not the tool to process data of that size. So with that, we started to think about other things we might want to do instead.
So it was about this time that the data engineers were hired, myself included, and we had this data model that was getting a bit unwieldy, and it was our job essentially to take that existing data model and build a more scalable solution, including our own dedicated data warehouse. So was quite the task ahead of us. And one thing that was really important that we did was we made sure to really take note of what our needs were, what our wants were, and how to move forward with that. So as we've already touched on, some of the key things that we needed were it needed to be a centralized single source of truth. So yeah, all of our data in one place so we could make sure it was consistent and accessible. It needed to be a scalable solution that would last, so we wouldn't have to keep recreating more data models. And it was really important that it fit in well with our existing reporting platform, Tableau, as everyone was so used to using that, and it was so ubiquitous in the company at this point. So we got to work. Although we had assessed kind of our needs and wants, we had a pretty clear slate in terms of what to do. There was nothing in terms of what we needed built. So we had a lot of options in front of us, essentially. So we got to work. There's various decisions to make with this kind of thing, what kind of platform and architecture the data warehouse should take, different ETL processes and methods and what would best suit us. And once everything's in there, how do we process the data? How do we structure it? How do we make sure that it's accessible? So one of the really important things, I think, in this process for us was every single choice that we made and everything that we researched and we explored, we always harked back to what do we need? Is it suitable for our purpose? And is it going to last? So where we landed was essentially our kind of 1.0 version of our warehouse, which was, broadly speaking, all the data that we needed from that existing data model that we had was all stored in Google's BigQuery. We had kind of the key business criteria satisfied. We had managed to break out that data model into some kind of core data products, like the single customer view that we mentioned. We were able to adhere to an acceptable refresh cadence. The data was fresh, and we weren't dealing with the staleness issues that we had, and it was all connected to Tableau quite nicely. With that said, we were very aware, even at the time we kind of launched this initial warehouse version, is that there was a lot of room to grow. I think it was important that we made a conscious choice on what to focus on and what to think, okay, we can put a pin in that, because as we were doing all this, the business was still, it was still operating and it was still growing. We needed to serve all these reporting needs. So we got the key important bits done first, and then we kind of put a pin in the rest and made plans to address them. Things like just improving our ETL processes, adding even more data sources into the warehouse to enrich things like that on platform data, and more like infrastructural improvements, improving our disaster recovery and business continuity plans. And there were still a few kind of residuals of the initial data model and the spin-off, so we needed to fully deprecate that and have really truly a one-stop shop. So with that, we kept working on it and we kept addressing all those things, and we ended up with essentially where we are now, pretty much. So some of the kind of key important things, I think, is we have the monolithic data model and all the offshoots now fully centralized, broken out into core data products, things like I've already said, the single customer view. We've also got transactional and product level views, as well as various other things to serve our reporting needs. And all of this essentially just made the whole thing more scalable, more accessible, and easier to use, which was just a big win across the board. Additionally to that, again, going on to our kind of centralized single source of truth, we have since added lots more data sources, things like our on-platform data, competitor data survey, more CRM, and we've even got the functionality where we'll pass some of our data to external sources, things like our multimedia platform that will pass for even more enriching CRM. So overall, what our data and analytics warehouse, as we affectionately call the DOOR, looks like now is it's a centralized single source of truth for all of our reporting needs across the business. It's recoverable. We put lots of effort and time into working on things like infrastructure as code and more like robust deployment processes and pipelines, things like CI/CD, and just making it a really robust like piece of architecture. And something I think is really important is we spent a lot of time and a lot of effort documenting everything. So data is great if it's all in one place, but if no one knows how to use it or what it should be used for, it's not doing its job. So our documentation really ranges from things like detailed data dictionaries for all of our core data products, explaining, you know, what each field is, what the data points are, where they've come from, how they should be used. But also we document more in-depth and more broad processes for like complex transformations, or if there's, you know, nuance with how data's got to where it needs to be. So all of this, I think, just really empowers both people within the team and in the wider business to be able to make the most of all the data, use it and trust it. And one of the more recent things that we've worked on is streaming ingest. So at the moment, you know, we've got our data to an acceptable level of freshness, and we don't have those stale issues anymore, but it was all batch filled still. But no longer. We now have real-time data streaming in to our warehouse, which is just unlocking a lot of capabilities for things like real-time reporting moving forward, which is very exciting. And I'm going to hand over to Alice to explain a bit more what we did with all that.
Yeah. So I think you've heard me bang on enough about how many reports we had. So with the new data products, so Dan sort of mentioned a few of them, but one of the key ones that unlocked the ability to just cull 10 reports and put them into one was the single transaction view. So at a transaction level, this can be both sides of the marketplace. That is one of the added complications of being a double-sided marketplace, is how do you report on both sides at the same time? Having had all that transformation done within the single transaction view, it meant we could consolidate 5 reports relating to supply into the business and demand from the business into one. And this was one of the, I think it was the first one we released, wasn't it? Yeah, the first consolidated dashboard that took all of that data, all of those KPIs, and put them into one accessible place. And the idea of this dashboard was to showcase consolidated information, simplified and improve UX. So rather than having multiple tabs with just massive tables in them, we thought, if you're new to the business, you're going to find this quite scary to look at. So instead, we're going to give you something that's a bit more approachable. Graph format, ability to swap it to a table if that's what you prefer to interact with, simple year on year underneath what you're looking at, nice versus target like visualizations. You can understand how we're progressing through a day, a week, a month, a quarter. Dynamic and interactive, making use of Tableau's features, standardized because it's all coming from the same place. So it's going to match all the other reports that we have, and much more improved user confidence. So we've taken it into best practice about making notes on dashboards, making things nice and clear for the user, that simplification piece. And we started to enable the answering the so what. So if you have a big table of data, I'm sure most of us have done analytics, big table of data. Okay, like you can't really take too much from it. It's very difficult for users of different levels to maybe understand a trend if that's not, say, how you best learn. So we started to be able to enable what were our customers, the other members of the business, to understand what they were actually seeing and start to ask questions of the data. And on top of just dashboard consolidation, it started to unlock some capabilities that someone like me gets super excited about. Customer analytics. So some of the projects we've been able to start working on now, especially being able to centralize our own platform data and create views from our own platform data that link quite nicely to our customer data, means we're starting to be able to segment customers based on so many different attributes about them. So like when they first hit the platform, how do they interact with us? Do they transact? If they do, how do they come back and repeat with us? can we understand their behavior such that we can give them a better experience and meet their needs, which Jess obviously has a great stake in. But yeah, one of the other capabilities that we have been able to unlock is something Nikki's going to briefly, some dashboards. It's something Nikki's going to talk about.
Thank you. In a rather ambitious move, 6 months after launching our data analytics warehouse, we embarked on our first data science project, which was to produce a dynamic pricing engine. So this is a 3-stage process. The first stage is to predict supply and demand, just using a random forest model or 2 random forest models, to then separately look at the elasticity, to then blend them together and then share these as scenarios to our pricing team to enable them to optimize pricing based on margin or inventory throughput, depending on the goals at the time. So something I'm really proud of in terms of MPB is that we really do live our customer values. So when it came to testing this model and doing an A/B test, we didn't charge different customers different prices for the same camera model. We split our A/B tests on based on camera model, and actually we never charge a customer a different price or customers a different price for the same model in the same market, which is really like I say, I'm just really proud of that. And actually, from the test period, this actually indicated a £350,000 margin gain from four months in test period. And this is currently still in development at the moment. So I think it's also really important to note, like obviously there's 3 of us up here today, but success really is a team sport. The current data and analytics team is shown up here, and we are now at 10. About 50% have been along with the journey for us for around 2.5 or 3 years. There also are a couple of people who are part of the journey that are not shown here, one of who is in the audience. And we are now across 4 functions. So we have a data engineering function, the analytics function, business intelligence, and data science. We're all UK based, but we support globally. In terms of our data analytics warehouse, we now have 10 terabytes worth of data, and we have 1,000 tables that are ingested every day. And actually, real-time data is being used by 85 tables, and they update every 30 minutes into our aggregated views, which then enable our Tableau dashboards to be built from them. And our largest table ingests 20 million records a day. So MPB is seen as a trusted pricing expert. So this is some of our data in the wild. We always ensure that customers get the right price for their kit. And actually, we share our market and model trends on LinkedIn, as you can see here. And we've also shared a couple of other articles around our data transformation journey. So all of these can be found on our MPB LinkedIn page. So I think it's important to summarize like the reasons for success at this point. We went from 0 engineers to a productionized data warehouse in 6 months. So that was obviously very quick. We definitely moved at pace during this time. And it definitely felt that there was sort of an element of building the house while painting it. As Dan was alluding to earlier, we were still providing reports to the business whilst also building the future. But really, there aren't any secrets. This was due to the team, the expertise, the passion, and the perseverance from everybody who's been part of the journey. Everybody working towards the same goal. The team works on trust and collaboration, which meant that we challenged appropriately and pivoted frequently. We produced quick wins alongside future proofing. So an example of that is Alice has mentioned the consolidated report, and obviously we are global. We operate in several different currencies. So being able to have exchange rates in our dashboards so that we could actually consolidate and look at the company as a whole. Previously, it had always been done market by market and consolidated manually. And the communication, as I mentioned, was key, both within the team and also with our stakeholders, keeping everybody informed and sharing our promises for the future. So talking about the future, this is where we are now. So this is our data analytics team mission. And ultimately, it's to transform data into knowledge and data-informed value. And we do that by empowering decision makers and collaborating with people like the product team to ensure we deliver customer-centric products and solutions that are backed by data. So this diagram is actually sourced from Simon Aspen-Taylor, but I think it's a really good example of the value from data. And actually, value comes from all levels of the pyramid. And I strongly advocate that the top is not more important than the bottom. You need all of them for success. All layers are key to depth and breadth to understand the drivers of success and also to enable you to grow and move forward. And then obviously data engineering underpin all of that. So our current data analytics strategy is in progress. Jess, you might recognize this slide. So the data analytics team had their strategy day last week, and it was highly valuable. We had a great session getting together and thinking about the future rather than just dealing with the day-to-day. And although it's in progress, it's likely that our strategy is going to fit into these 3 pillars. So obviously, the foundations, which continue to be important, making sure that governance, management, and infrastructure continues to be correct for success. Data value, so that's like our data products, what we're delivering for the business and our customers. And then people, which is also really important, both within the data analytics team, but also within the business. So making people's quality of life easier, removing manual tasks and making people's day-to-day a bit better by supporting from a data perspective. Additionally, actually, I should have said, it's also around making sure that we're aligned to the current MPB roadmap, but also identifying potential future roadmap initiatives. So being proactive and working alongside our stakeholders and not just being reactive to tickets that come our way. So with that, this is just a reminder of who we are. And just to let you know as well that we are currently hiring. We currently have a product manager to support data and analytics, which is currently live, and also to keep an eye on our careers page or LinkedIn, because we have some data scientist roles and data engineering roles coming later this year. That's it.
Thank you very much, all of you. Now, I am sure some of you will have questions and commentary to what you just heard. Who's going to be first? Oh, go ahead, Ash.
Hey, first of all, that was really awesome. Thank you for that. If you could cast your mind back 3 years to when you had a system that wasn't working as well as it should have done, and you were making a lot of decisions about where to go from there as someone in a similar position, first of all, what were the main things that were in your mind when you were looking for like specific tools? And then also, why did you choose a BigQuery? I use GCP at my work, so we're thinking of using that. And would you stick with it?
It's a really interesting question. Do you want to take this down or shall I take it?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I'll answer the second part first. We ended up with BigQuery. It was always something we pegged immediately, just because it's so good at processing lots and lots of data really quickly, because of the columnar data store and like Colossus and like how it all works. Essentially, it is really powerful. We actually started with a slightly different tact, using kind of a fast and slow, almost like a Lambda architecture. But basically, the more we went, the more we realized just how fast everything was continuing to grow, and we just needed to go like for the big guns straight away. We were pretty much entirely on GCP already. So although we did keep other options in mind, that's kind of one of the reasons it jumped out to us at first. And the more we used it, the more it was just completely fit for purpose, essentially. And sorry, the first part of your question again, casting our mind back, what were you wondering, sorry?
So
Yes, yeah. Pretty much just what our immediate needs were kind of the main driving factors to begin with. But as we were kind of, before we really committed to anything, we kept looking back at, cool, these are the immediate needs, but what are we going to want and what are we going to go for moving forward, which can be quite difficult to assess and quite difficult to know at times. So sometimes it was kind of an educated guess. Sometimes, there's a lot of pivoting involved, but it was essentially just doing our best to try and future-proof, as Nikki said, alongside kind of solving for the quick wins and the immediate needs as well.
Yes, next question here.
Thank you for the presentation. It is lovely to see the transformation from Tableau dashboards to a centralized. So congratulations on that. I have two questions. The first one is on the pricing side. As someone who has worked on live pricing, it's always difficult to define those A/B tests. So if you can talk about the assumptions that you have made, because if you're not actually changing the price for different customer groups, it's not exactly an A/B test, it's an approximation. So if you can talk about those approximations, so that's one thing. And second thing is, I'm also looking for, because now that you have standardized it, are you using some sort of AI to give product or other customer-centric people, so probably optimize the end of your funnel, some small query that should not come to your team, like someone can just look at a database. Is there any application of AI that you have been able to figure out there?
So to answer your first question, I'm not the data scientist in the room. So I'll just very top level answer the beginning part of your question, which is in terms of categorizing our A/B testing, we did it based on like features that were, products that were similar to each other. So like you say, it's not an art, but then equally, unless you've got huge amounts of customers and you've got really good segmentation of your customers, then I don't think, it's never a precise science from that piece. And then the other question around self-serve, is it almost like using AI to allow people to access data sort of in a more accessible way. So we have looked at this. I think at the moment, from sort of limited research at this stage, I'm not sure how accurate a lot of these AI tools are. From conversations I've had, it's about an 80% accuracy. So in terms of natural language questions and natural language responses, and 80% just isn't good enough. So it's something that I think we'll keep an eye on. There's an awful lot of tools out there. So Tableau has its own version, Pulse it's called, isn't it, I think. And again, like we're looking at how it can help us, but we're not jumping on it because we really need to make sure that it's answering the right questions.
Thank you for that. Yeah, Andres. Thank you.
First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. It's really interesting to hear about the journey of teams in data. One of the things that I noticed as you guys were talking is that you mentioned ETLs twice. And I was wondering if you've been thinking about ELTs versus ETLs and how you came to that decision.
Sure, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we mentioned ETLs. In reality, it's a bit of both. It depends on the data source, depends on exactly what we need from it and how it's getting where it needs to be, essentially. Really, we just take it all on like a case by case. We have some systems and some processes already set up. So if we can incorporate something into that, that's going to be good and beneficial and a quicker win. But sometimes you just need to set up new dedicated things. And it really just depends because we have such like a plethora of different types of data coming in from different places. I think there's pros and cons to each, and you just got to weigh it each time.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks. Great talk. For your ETL processes, what platform or product do you use?
No, it's not a lot of. So the kind of the heavy lifters we essentially run custom Python jobs on Kubernetes and we just have pipelines built, kind of custom pipelines for each data source in there. I'm just using our Kubernetes cluster to like run that. There are a lot of really useful like direct integrations with BigQuery as well, which often falls into more of ELT, where we'll get it into BigQuery and then we'll kind of do what we need with it. But in terms of our custom ETLs, Kubernetes does most of the heavy lifting.
Hey, thank you for the very interesting presentation. Was it correct that you moved from MySQL to Postgres? I think I heard that during your presentation, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is that right?
Yeah. So yes and no. We have moved some aspects. We essentially broke out from just MySQL database to splitting it out into kind of more context, and some of that is in MySQL, and we're kind of moving more and more of that into Postgres.
So my question was, what are the challenges of moving between MySQL and Postgres, and what's the reason for choosing Postgres? Yeah,
that's a really good question, and that kind of is more upstream from where we sit. So I'm probably not the best person to answer that, unless anyone here has any more insights. Yeah, so I mean, we can talk from moving not necessarily from MySQL to Postgres, but like that kind of large migration comes with lots of challenges. But in terms of like the specific architectures, I probably wouldn't be able to give a very insightful answer, I'm afraid.
Right, in here.
I've actually got too many questions, as you can imagine, but I'm just going to keep it brief. You're now adding in faster moving data, and you've created a single customer view within your data warehouse. I'm really interested in how that's being actioned. So you've now effectively delivered superpowers to the organization, other than the reporting side of being able to look at the KPIs and be able to dig into all of that. How is that, what must be really powerful single customer view, being harnessed within the organization?
So in terms of the real-time data, at the moment, the single customer view isn't taking the real-time data, but it does update every 30 minutes. So that is still very, very quick. In terms of how it's harnessed at the moment, it's cool for where we are right at this point in time, but it's utilized from our multimedia platform, as Dan said earlier on, for our customer communications. But ultimately, it can be used to put more personalized messaging on the platform in a more of a real-time fashion, and that's sort of the move in which we're aiming to support for future.
Thank you all for the questions. Please keep them coming. Please keep them coming.
Hey, sorry. Just going back again to 3 years ago. When you were talking about how you were growing, from zero to many functions of the team, how did you go about doing that? Did you go about, building it one person at a time? Like starting with one each, or did you have one person splitting across a bunch of different stuff, or did you build one up to like 1 million people and then go to the next one?
That's a good question. So when I started, I think, like I said, it was a team of analysts who were doing obviously a multitude of different roles to be able to enable the outputs that were being utilized by the business. But when I joined, it was clear that we needed data engineers. I think originally the plan was for one, but I'm not a fan of single point of failure. And also the scale of the vision in front of us wouldn't have worked with just one data engineer. So at that point we hired two. Obviously the analysts were still doing the role, but minus some of the data engineering elements. So that freed them up to continue to add value to the business through data-driven value. Data-driven initiatives. And then actually, we hired a data scientist, of which we do currently only have one. Obviously, we've got another role coming later in the year. And then the analyst team, I decided to split it out between sort of the more traditional analytics and actually the reporting. So previously, the analysts, again, were doing like quite a multitude of different roles, but actually they are quite different as you scale. Having a reporting team is quite different to sort of the role of the analyst, particularly in ad hoc. So that's how it sort of panned out, really.
Great, thanks so much. Who's next? Anybody online? Just checking.
Let's say you're doing a great job.
you guys are doing good. Okay, I'll give you one here.
The question is about what would the CFO say in terms of the original business case? Where was the business gunning for in terms of, I mean, it's a massive project, right? You've done an incredible amount of time, 6 months. And I'm just thinking about what was the sales job within the organization to get the impetus to deliver that?
So I think I said at the beginning, like I actually had quite an easy job because of the £50 million investment that was always for tech and data, because we were such a data literate company. I think it was always understood that the way things working wasn't going to be scalable to support our future growth. So I think from that perspective, it was widely understood, really.
While you think of your next question, I'll ask a question of my own, if I may. You emphasized the importance of documentation. What was your choice for a platform of collecting the documentation, storing the documentation, and serving up the documentation?
So as Alice said, we started in Google Sheets because something is better than nothing. But then as we sort of continue to use BigQuery, we actually now use Data Catalog to store all of our definitions. So it makes it really accessible to users to be able to actually access the definition of the data in the same place that they are utilizing or using the data. But we also separately take that outside of Data Catalog and we put a Tableau over the top of it as well. So that actually it means that users around the business can also access our definitions for some of the data behind the scenes. And actually, our next sort of phase is to actually overlay some of the business definitions to link back to what the data fields are, because so as you know, like field names can often like mutate to what they actually mean in the business. So actually trying to have the lineage accessible to our stakeholders, but also importantly to our product and engineering team to actually be able to understand the impact of something upstream and where that's going to impact and what metrics that's going to impact down the line.
Hey, so with all the changes that you've made over the past 3 years, how many like estimated work hours are you saving? It's a bit of a vague question. Are you saving a lot of time with maintenance and yeah?
Yes, it's a very good question and definitely one that should be asked in terms of actually understanding the value of what's being delivered. I think it's quite a difficult question to answer. But for one example, I mentioned that there was quite a lot of manual operations tasks happening. And actually we have produced a dashboard to support our colleagues in the warehouses, and actually that's saving 10% of their time a week. And then there's other like simple changes which will change manual tasks. So in terms of on the whole, it's very hard to estimate. I mean, I don't know, Alice, if you've got any thoughts.
Weeks. No, I think when we were at the position where we were, obviously we spoke a little bit about like data staleness and stuff like that. We spoke about how long it took to run just the data setup as an ad hoc query in R before you even started doing any analysis. If I wanted to look at, can I spot a seasonal trend in our data in this particular way? Because we were growing really fast as well. So you can't just do that in a Tableau dashboard. Oh God, that took hours. It's those sort of what should be quite quick task, something you can just put a little script together over some raw data, a lot of time has been saved in that way. Particularly Tableau heartache when it was breaking all the time, when it wasn't refreshing all the time, and it was a question of sitting there watching it and hoping for the best. I think we've saved a lot of time in terms of like actually how long it takes to produce a piece of work, but also maintenance time. I think, Dan, you can probably say that definitely a lot saved.
Yep.
You wanna say anything?
Yeah, I mean, there's been many things that spring to mind. I think that, the ops like time save is a really good concrete example, but just, I guess, anecdotally, there's been so many processes that initially were like either manual or just very like long-winded. And we just sit down doing something for an hour that now just runs on its own in the background. So I don't need to do that every week. Lots of little things like that really add up. And I think in regards, like, to put it into perspective, that 37-minute time to like generate the data model to then run things on, when we moved that into BigQuery, it was like 5 minutes. It was a big save. So yeah, it's just like lots and lots of some really big things and lots of little things that all add up. It's quite hard to quantify though.
Right, thank you for that. More questions? Anybody curious? Okay, thank you.
Hey, what's the next biggest challenge on your technology roadmap?
Yeah, probably we want to set up a really robust like MLOps pipeline and environment for data science, essentially, which is quite a big task and probably the biggest like technical challenge ahead of us in the foreseeable, for sure.
Well, all right. I think we can give our speakers a warm hand again in gratitude for your wonderful talk. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nikki. And especially thank you for indulging us with so many questions. I really think that's one of the best value that we can provide here. You can find various data talks all over at the YouTube or whatever. One of the best value that we can provide here is an opportunity to have this conversation, bring your questions, map this to your situation, because I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one working for an organization that's in the before picture that Nikki just presented, and at the start of a transformation like this, and looking for ways to move forward. And so really grateful for them to show to share their journey with us. And Nikki has furthermore shared her journey on Medium with 2 blog posts about this transformation. This is what caught my eye and the reason how we got them here. But thank you again. That was great. Before we end, we have a surprise for you. Woohoo! That's all the excitement we can muster at this point. But there is, but I would like now to invite up here on the stage Mehmet, who is going to run a little pub quiz. And if you, like some people I know, no names, need a drink to go through a pub quiz, there is a fridge in this corner that is embarrassing me. I promised. Mehmet, floor is yours.
Hello, quick test. So let's wait a little bit for the refreshments and then. So great talks on the generative AI and the data migration of the MPB from the legacy platform to the totally new environment. So I guess it is time to test our knowledge on the what we learn in this station, right? So we have a quiz which is take 10 minutes at total, which is consisting of the 20 questions, and we are trying to measure are we totally get what we learn or grasp in these stations. So if you just scan on the right upper corner, so your names will be appearing here. So just wait a little bit, and this is not the only thing about the quiz. We have also some rewards for the top 3 participants for the quiz. So I am not sure I should make the introductions about it because this is something, yeah, Oscar is more knowledgeable than me. So we have since we are celebrating the traditional Brighton Fringe, so we thought maybe we can also hand out some rewards from the local Brighton called Shard Court. Yeah. So this is the booklet or pamphlet called Aberrations, Volume 1. So the importance of this pamphlet is it is produced by using generative AI. So it is one of the up-to-date version of the use of the AI and also artistic ambition. So don't worry, we will also have 3 additional copies, but we will be trying to hand out those 3 copies, not on the merit basis, but on some other categories as well. Hello, now we have, let's wait. Is there anybody still trying to? Just. So each question will be taking 20 seconds. I'm not reading the questions since they will be visible on your phone screens and also on the screen as well. Do you have any question before the jumping in the quiz, or are we all good? Just.
I'd just like to give my thanks again to MPB.com again for the awards that we're going to be handing out at the end of this thing. That's all.
Yeah, sorry for that. This is also one of the things MPB is sponsored. So thanks to them. So are we all good? So we can give it a go. Do you think, can I use this one or let me give it a try? Oh, yeah. Let me go back and I'm going too far away if you are ready. So our first questions, we have seconds in total. So let's start with a warm-up question. I think not challenging. The big data, the first option seems plausible, but yeah. Okay, seems good. Yeah, I thought, I convinced some of the participants to the first option. So the correct option is, the second option. So our second questions, it is a bit, sarcastic one. Why did the data scientists get into trouble at the art gallery? So the close to, presentation of the jazz. I guess, you will get the correct answer, hopefully. So, wow. Let's see. Oh, half of the participants are getting correct. Seems rare. So the other question is about our host today, actually, speaker, actually. What is the main purpose of the MPB's data transformation? Let's test. Are we active listeners or we were just enjoying the free pizzas and drinks? Oh, okay, we got it. Yeah. So another credits to the talk of to Jessica. I'm not sure. There should be 4 options, but I'm not sure why it is not visible in here. Are you also seeing a 3 option? Oh, it's 4. Yeah, I think probably there's some design glitches. Okay, well, we have a very intelligible audience in here, I guess. They're all getting, I think there will be some competition. Next question is very selective. Since I think it is obvious one because everybody knows Elon Musk running the entire universe as a simulation. But have you heard about the Mechanical Turk, by the way? The legacy AI. Oh, nobody chose it. Congrats. I guess Jeremy goes with the Elon Musk. Yeah, and kudos to our longest serving host, Oscar. Yeah, it is very tight competition actually. Now we have almost 5 contenders for the leaderboard. So congrats Spice, whoever is just that's the and Father Christmas and Rob. Let's move away. The next question is a bit wordy. You got it. What is the following not a common use of the data transformation in the case of the business? So let's see. Still the pot. Oh, still everybody got the right answer, I guess. That's going very intense. So which of the following is a key advantage of the centralized data system? Let's try to test out our general data science knowledge. I'm also not sure about which one is correct. Let's see. Wow. 96%, almost everybody got the right answer. Okay, let's a bit dig in the theory then. So which term used in the machine learning model performs exceptionally well on the training data, but poorly on the new used data? I think, it's a bit confused the audience. So let's go to our host, the sponsor, the main organizer of the event, the Silicon Brighton. So let's test about our knowledge, what they are doing for us. So I'm definitely going for the D option D. Beach cleanups with the tank. Okay, I will choose the option A as well. I mean, it sounds plausible. Hooray! We have still 3 top competitors getting all the questions correct. Rob got the first top spots, so kudos to Rob. Whoever, congrats, Rob. And Mr. Tart and Fred is in the top contenders at the moment. Let's move in the second half of the quiz. So I'm sorry for I just focused on the Python in this quiz. Maybe I should include all other languages like R. Sorry, Jeremy, for doing it. I didn't mean to upset you, but so right answer is the matplotlib. That's right. So let's a bit have a fun. So it's a bit birdie question. Hope everybody quickly read and answer it. How does the data scientist fix a broken algorithm? I guess, maybe Dan could answer directly for us, but Wow. Yeah, with a patch of code. That's right. Yeah, but maybe the last option is for me. Yeah, try to drop the sarcasm table. Yeah, but nobody chose it. Okay. Let's test our, we are in the Brighton data forum at the moment, but are we all know when this greatest forum of the Brighton has founded? Actually, I didn't know before preparing this quiz. Actually, I know it wrong, so probably you will also confused. Let's see. Yeah, that was. I was expecting this. This is gonna be a very selective question, but right answer is. Yeah, don't get mad. I was also thinking about it's 2018, but yeah, we are on the same page. So another fun question. I guess Jess will be a bit pissed off me because of my sarcastic tone of the photography and data science, but I guess I need to have a reference to our greatest first talk. Wow, yeah, it is also another. So let's return back to the use of the data science, a bit theory. So just a bit word games. Which one is not characteristic of the big data? Oh, lots of people get it right. 62%. Hooray, we have some selective questions at the end of the day. So, but Rob is still coming in the top place. Yeah, congrats, Rob. Yeah, and Andres, and my name is Earl. Yeah, Mr. Don't don't ask who is he, but I guess if you wonder who is he, I think he is waiting you in the just next to the pub in Joker, I guess, right? After the event or quiz. So let's move. I'm not sure NLP was the one of the topic of this talk, but I just put it in the context of its popularity. Let's see whether are we good also all other data science topics. The correct answer is process of splitting text into the individual words or phrase. Okay, which evaluation matrix is most suitable for a highly imbalanced binary classification problem? I don't have a straight answer for that, to be honest. Probably I will Google it. If you have, quick hand, just try to Google it. I will do that. Yeah, as you see, I just put a very, small hint at there. There was a fun pilot, so. But it wasn't enough to most of 40% of the people, they go with the precision. Another question about our greatest sponsor of the Silicon Brighton. So they are keep promoting their event, but are we aware of what is their motto? Yeah. I think option D really sounds, maybe we can update it as maybe internet and pint. Yeah, that would be. Okay, we have a very loyal audience actually. They got it almost correct. Last 3 questions. So it will be, quick tip data science based questions, and they will be a bit selective, but not the tricky ones. Let's see who can recall the what one hot encoding. Okay, we are going well. The second last question, what is the curse of dimensionality in the context of the machine learning? I just put in the context of my machine learning, because maybe there will be some member of the Scientology of between us. So that's why there is also curse in the machine learning. So, okay. Oh, we have a very literary, familiar audience. So before going to last question, Mr. Tart, who is this? Oh, Nigel, Mr. Nigel Tart, Mr. Tart. Sorry for exposing your real name, but I was just trying to give you a credit because, yeah. And Mr. Tart is coming at the first place, I guess. Yeah, he is very obviously winner if he didn't miss the last question. Frat is the second, and Ash is in the third place. Oh. I cannot see the Earl, but okay. It's a last question. So are you ready for last question then? Yeah. Okay, it is a bit easy one, especially for if you are dealing with academic, how would I say, small talk. What is the key difference between correlation and causation? Everybody says that correlation doesn't mean causation or vice versa, but what does that mean? Oh, we have a very, yeah. So the correct answer is correlation measures the strength of the relationship and causation implies the cause and effect relationship, as I guess Charlie got also correct answer for it. He's just, yeah, affirming me. So are we ready for the winners? Let's see. Hooray, Mr. Tart. So shall we start from the, yeah, of course, maybe. Maybe should I invite the top contenders on the stage, or so Frat is the second place, and if you are, yeah, we are happy if you are in the room. And Mr. Ash, I'm just calling everybody Mr. Thanks to Mr. Tart. So we were actually also handing out 3 more pamphlets, but as I said at the beginning of the quiz, we are not giving them on the merit-based qualifications. So, so one of the the qualifications I was considering, I was just trying to have a look at we got the most creative name on the quiz, and I guess, do you have any candidate for that one? Who got the? Oh, Oscar. Yeah, Oscar got the right person. Oscar, can I ask your help to? I think it's not open. Sorry for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess our first numbered prize is going to Mr. My name is Earth. The other one, I was expecting to, since it's a tech event, I was expecting to see some fancy tech or data shirts, but I am afraid I couldn't see. But I also tried to, just check, I mean, who is the enjoying most pizza and pants. So I was just, but yeah, I guess most of you are enjoying the refreshments, and yeah, so thanks to Silicon Brighton and our sponsors MPB as well. So Oscar, do you have any, since you are the longest running host of the event, any candidate of the person is enjoying our refreshments most? I think that will be a, or oh, I was just, maybe you have somebody on your mind. So if you don't have, I have somebody on my mind, but I'm not sure it will be.
Just tell me where to deliver.
There is a guy is just looking at the laptop just next to the Nikki. He is one of the frequent participants of our events. Yeah, I guess the last prize, I am not sure. Maybe I just leave it to our longest serving host of this greatest event. So
You can't do that.
No.
Can't do that. Sorry. Can't do that. Can't do that. Can't do that.
No, it is.
Can't do that. Sorry. Thank you very much. That's very, great to hear of your support. I will tell you this about the pamphlet that you are, neglecting your opportunity to win. I bought myself a copy, and I find it absolutely beautiful. It's, I think Shadkor, who does a lot of interesting things for sure. Now, we've all seen generative art. We've seen tons of generative art. We've been online. We've seen the salmon up the river. We've seen so much of it. It travels around the world, right? There's something different about holding it in your hand. Something so inherently digital in your hands, and it is artwork far better than any artwork you've seen from a generative AI. And it is also artwork that couldn't have come except out of generative AI. Now, who wants this?
Before going ahead, can I also add one more point which is totally irrelevant to the pamphlet?
Please do.
One more snap announcement about something related with data. So we have a guest from the professor from the University of Sussex, which is conducting a research. So she's giving just a pitch about her research about the small and medium scale businesses. Please
Thank
go
you,
ahead,
Mehmet.
Ms.
If no one wants it, I'll take that. Apologies for standing between you and the pub. For those of you headed that way, I'm Ödül. I am gate crashing, and I have been doing that at various tech events in the last few months because I'm a social scientist. But I too am after data. Specifically, I'm after data for my current project, which is about the use of generative AI in micro and small businesses in the Greater Brighton region. And I come at it from an interest in work and employment. I'm a professor of work and employment at the University of Sussex Business School, where we also have a Digital Futures at Work Research Center. So if anyone here thinks that they can put up with me asking them some questions about their daily work, their daily grind, and how generative AI comes in, how much of it comes in, how little of it comes in, all stories are interesting to us. Would you please sort of come up and we meet and greet, and I'll give you more information. Thank you for giving me the platform, Mehmet.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
And if you want to get in touch with Professor, so I guess, the latest pamphlets is also find its place. Thank you,
Yes.
Oscar.
Very good. Thank you so much to Mehmet, and thank you much to all of you. Thank you for your great questions. Thank you for keeping the conversation going. We are the Brighton Data Forum. We live on Meetup, but we also work at, we have a workspace on Slack. We'd love to have a conversation, carry the conversation there. We'll have a next event end of last Wednesday of July, and it will be a great event. We're going to do BI, Business Intelligence Suite. Yeah, anyway, we're headed to the pub now. Thank you very much for coming. That's it. Goodbye.
Thank you, mate. Nice one.